Welcome back to another episode of Visa Verge News, the podcast that keeps you informed about the latest in immigration policies and developments around the world. Today, we'll be diving into the intersection of visa overstaying and asylum applications in the United Kingdom, a topic that's been generating significant concern as the country faces a surge in migration challenges. Joining me to break this down is my co-host Ryan. Glad to have you here.
Thanks, Mia. This is such a critical issue to discuss, especially given the record-breaking asylum numbers the UK has seen recently. The link between visa overstays and asylum claims has been a growing concern for years, and it seems like this problem is only getting more complex.
Exactly. Let's start with some context. In 2024, the UK reported 108,000 asylum applications, the highest number on record, even surpassing the previous peak of 103,000 in 2002. And here's where it gets interesting. Over one-third of these asylum claims, historically, have come from individuals who overstayed their visas. These are people who entered the country legally, but remained after their visa expired. That connection has really shifted the conversation about irregular migration in the UK.
Right, and it's worth noting that visa overstaying is often overshadowed by more visible forms of irregular migration, like the small boat crossings on the English Channel. But overstaying presents its own challenges because it reveals gaps in how the UK tracks lawful arrivals and departures. The fact that the Home Office stopped collecting data from exit checks in 2020 doesn't help matters either. Without that data, it's harder to enforce compliance or even gauge how big the issue really is.
Absolutely. And what's troubling is that visa overstayers who apply for asylum can blur the line between those legitimately seeking refuge and those bypassing immigration rules. This can erode public trust in the asylum system, making it even harder for the government to manage the issue effectively. What's interesting is the government's dual approach to tackling this, increasing enforcement while introducing new legislation.
That's a great point. The Labour government, which came into power in 2024, has really stepped up enforcement against irregular migration. Between July 2024 and March 2025, for example, workplace immigration raids led to nearly 4,000 arrests and the removal of about 19,000 individuals who had no legal right to remain in the UK. And legislation-wise, the Border Security, Asylum and Immigration Bill is a big part of their strategy. It's aimed at cracking down on human trafficking and smuggling while enhancing border controls.
Yes, and one of its more controversial measures is the seizure of phones and electronic devices from individuals suspected of involvement in smuggling. These efforts are part of a larger plan to bolster border security. However, critics, including human rights organizations, argue that some of these policies lack compassion, especially with rules like barring asylum seekers from protections under modern slavery laws. It raises questions about where the balance lies between enforcement and humanity.
That's true, and it's not just about enforcement. There's also the question of resources. By late 2024, over 38,000 asylum seekers were living in temporary accommodations like hotels, a 30% increase in just 6 months. That puts tremendous strain on the system, especially as the number of new residence visas issued has dropped significantly, down 32% to under 1 million in 2024.
And when you consider the broader picture, the UK's tightened immigration policies feel like a double-edged sword. While stricter rules may curb irregular migration in theory, they also risk leaving gaps in the labor market, particularly for low-wage roles. Plus, without clear pathways for legal migration, some individuals may feel compelled to overstay their visas rather than leave.
Exactly. And international collaboration plays a big role here. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has emphasized the importance of working with EU nations to address issues like human trafficking and border crossings. It's a reminder that migration is often a global issue requiring coordinated solutions, not just domestic enforcement.
But with all of these efforts, enforcement and partnerships alike, there's still a pressing need for effective tracking systems. Restarting exit checks or leveraging technology to monitor departures could provide much-needed oversight. That's one area where the UK could make some real progress.
I completely agree. And at the heart of it all, There needs to be a balanced approach, one that upholds immigration rules while ensuring fair treatment for those who genuinely need refuge. Striking that balance is no small task, but it's essential for rebuilding public trust and creating an effective immigration system.
Well said. As we've explored today, visa overstaying and record asylum claims highlight the complexities of the UK's immigration challenges. There's no one-size-fits-all solution, but better tracking, compassionate policies, and international coordination are key steps forward. And with that, we'll wrap up this episode of Visa Verge News.
Thanks for joining us. For more immigration updates and insights, be sure to visit us at visaverge.com. Until next time.